It's Erev Shabbos again. Another week has passed. We realize the war continues. We're davening. We're hoping for good news. I'd like to share with you a story that I came across last night. It's a very interesting story, and it's uplifting as well. It took place probably about 100 years ago. The Chofetz Chaim wrote a letter to many Rabbanim all over, and he was asking to compile a roster of all of the Kohanim in their communities. He wanted to know the ages, he wanted to know their physical state, because he understood that as Kohen himself, and being a Zaken, he was elderly, that Mashiach could come at any moment, the Beis HaMikdash would be rebuilt, and there would be a need to start bringing the sacrifices, the korbanos, and that would require Kohanim, and he had to know who would be eligible. So the way I read the story is that really no one responded except for one Rav, the Brisker Rav Yitzchak Zev Soloveitchik, and he did all of the research and he gave a compiled list to the Chofetz Chaim. What's the point of the story? That to the Chofetz Chaim and to the Brisker Rav, when the Navi says something about salvation, about redemption, about the Beis HaMikdash coming back very quickly, pisom, the word in the Navi is suddenly, it was true. It wasn't theoretical. It was as real as today is Friday, Erev Shabbos, Parshas Vayeira. And that leads us to Parshas Vayeira, because we have at the beginning of the Seder the three angels that come and visit Avraham, and they have their missions. And one of them is to give the news, the great news, that Sarah will conceive and have a son, Yitzchak, in a year's time. And the Pasuk says that Sarah laughed and she was chided for it. Yet last week, Avram Avinu was told the same news, and the Pasuk says that he laughed, and that's why Yitzchak is called his name, because it means to laugh, and yet Avram is excused, but Sarah isn't. And there's many answers to this question. The Or HaChaim HaKadosh says that the difference is that Avram Avinu, once Hashem told him, he rejoiced, he was happy. The news was as good as a done deal. For Sarah, the Pasuk says, Acharei velosi haisa li edna, that she had to look at her skin. It was a miracle that she was older, but yet at the same time, she saw that the fountain of youth had somehow taken effect, and she became young again. So she needed a little bit of proof in order to rejoice, as opposed to Avram Avinu. And therefore she was chided and rebuked, and Avram was not. The point is, whether it's the story with the Chofetz Chaim and the Brisker Rav, or this answer of the Or HaChaim to explain the difference between Avram and Sarah, or really for our purposes, that we'll read a lot and we'll see a lot, and it's frightening and it's disturbing, and we never thought we would ever experience this. And it can be infuriating, and it can be disappointing, and it can be depressing. All of the above are true. But if we're looking for solace, if we're looking for hope, if we're looking for some encouragement, we have to read the Navi. And when the Navi has psukim that describe the Geula, Hine Anochi Shaleach Lachem, behold, I am sending to you Eliyahu HaNavi. He's coming. Eliyahu HaNavi is ready to come to give us the great news of redemption, or all of the myriad of psukim that talk about the light shining, blossoming, the Geula starts to take hold, it gets traction. We might be experiencing that right now without realizing exactly, because how could we know the sequence of events? But that has to be our attitude, that what really counts is not what's printed in the newspapers or what we hear in the media. What counts is what the Navi says, that Hashem will never abandon us, and that there will be a Geula, and Hashem will never exchange us for another nation. And that has to be the uplifting inspiration that we take with us day in, day out. And Be'ezras Hashem, we should hear good news. B'mehera v'yameinu. I wish everybody a good Shabbos.